Thank you, Rose. Since
Thank you.
this is kind of the online tutorial, we may pause here for a bit to just ask the audience if the audience have questions. We can do the short Q&A right now. So for the audience, is there any question? Okay, so if there's no questions, so I will continue to my.
And if people want to contact me by email and ask questions, that's absolutely fine. Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, okay. I will share my screen. 1 second. Okay. Share screen. Okay, so the in the 1 second. In the second part, I need to, not sure what happened here.
We can see your screen. Seemed like you were presenting just fine.
Okay, there's a bar here, so I don't know how to hide the bar. So let me reshare.
I don't think we were seeing the Zoom bar if that was what was bothering you.
Okay,
but
cool.
It looks great, just to be clear. Right now, like exist, It says the outline. Okay,
cool. So in the second part, so I will talk about the AI in K-12 education. So I will have a focus on the K-12 education because the K-12 education is one of the largest part in the general education.
So to solve this issue, instead of just
okay, I will continue. So the first part in the first part here, so I will show some existing AI application in K-12 educations. So people, because the majority of the audience may be not quite familiar with what is the current progress of how AI is used in the K-12 education. So I will just show a bunch of examples later. Okay, so the first, so when people use AI in K-12 education, there are mainly three core values. The first is the cost reductions. In the education domain, so there are a bunch of operation is they have the very high cost. For example, how to prepare the how to prepare the exam for teachers, which it costs a lot of money and time. And also the second core value is improved efficiency. So we will use AI to improve the speed and the efficiency in a lot of problem in education. And the third part is the AI will bring a lot of new experience for education. When we look at how existing AI application appear in K-12 education, we can split the entire overflow into 6 parts. The first part start with the top left corner, prepare, which means how AI helps people to do the prepare session in the education. For example, the teacher have to prepare the slides, and the teacher have to do some reflections before they teach a class, and also the teacher have to know what kind of knowledge to teach in the class. So the teacher have to prepare for the class. The second part go to teach, which means the teacher have to know how to teach a class. Right now we have the real human teachers and also the AI teachers, and also when teachers teach the class, they should have a lot of interactions with the students, and how can we use AI to improve the quality of their interactions. The third part go to the exercise part. Once we have the class, students usually need to do some exercise. So there are a lot of the tasks in the exercise stage. For example, how the essays are graded by either human or AI, or how the student get a personalized exercise. So then we go to the first step. The first step is exam. The student, they usually should have a bunch of the test, assessment, and exams. So how do we come up a good exam? This is a question. And how do we do the auto grading of the exam, and how do we make sure people don't copy each other? So the first step is, once we have the exam, we want to evaluate the quality of the class, the quality of the students. And there are a bunch of application and tasks. It's like the oral evaluations, the free talk evaluations, and also class quality assurance. Tries to make sure the people can use AI to kind of evaluate both the class and the students. The next step goes to manage. Manage means we need to make sure the teacher perform what we want, and the entire the student and their parents are satisfied with the quality of the education service. So people apply AI, to improve the quality of their call centers, and use AI to prevent to use AI to find the at-risk student, and to do the dropout predictions. And also people use AI to find who is the most suitable teacher for their kids. Okay, so this is kind of the overview of the existing AI application in K-12 education. So next I will pick a few very successful examples to show you and give you a concrete ideas. Okay, so the first step, the first is when in the first stage, the prepare stage, we need to kind of prepare what the class materials. So what usually people do is people have to handwritten a lot of questions and give those kind of papers to students. Right now with AI, with all the advanced OCR technologies, we can kind of automatically extract the questions from the raw papers and create better slides and the exam. I will show examples here. So the example is in Chinese, but the idea is people can use OCR to automatically extract all the symbols and the equations from the images, and they are automatically transformed into the LaTeX form, and people can do all the editing and all the stuff. So the next step is the next example is we can use AI to do the auto content generations. A lot of right now a lot of class is online, and the students just sit at their home and watch all the online videos, and usually the teacher will record their videos, and then it will play it by student. One question is how do we copy a good teacher and to generate more content? So here I will show examples. So you will see that now we have 2 teachers, and after using the state-of-the-art computer vision technologies, we can kind of learn all the posts and the actions of one teacher, and to use another teacher to kind of to drive the second teacher. So you see right now on the left hand side, On the left-hand side is a kind of the input of algorithm. We have two teachers, they just perform what they want. It will become a kind of a pair of training data. After training the computer vision models, we can generate the kind of the virtual teachers. You see here. You see now we have two teachers, one teacher just drive the other teachers. So it's kind of, if you watch it not that carefully, you probably won't see which one is a real teacher, which one is not. So using this kind of state-of-the-art computer vision technologies, and we can build we can create the auto content generations. Okay, so the third example in the prepare stage is we can use AI to help the teacher improve their teaching effectiveness. So here I show three examples. I show three pictures here. So basically, in a lot of schools and also the training and the teaching services, that require the teacher to keep practicing on their teaching skills. Usually what they do is the teacher just find either a whiteboard or kind of a smart whiteboard. They keep teaching and keep practicing their teaching skills. But the problem is no one gives them feedback. They don't know how well they teach. Usually they just store their they just have to record their practice videos and pass it to some senior guys, and the guy will tell her or tell him what they should improve, right? So right now with AI, and we can fully analyze the recordings. For example, we can use AI to evaluate whether the verbal is fluent or not, whether the teacher is asking correct questions, whether the teacher have good interaction with student, right? So I just list a few kind of metrics AI can help the teachers. Okay, so that's all about the first stage. Then after the prepare stage, we go to the second stage, which is teach, right? How do we use AI to improve the kind of the class teaching? So here I will show one example about how do we use the smart device to let all the students to do the in-class oral evaluations. So here is it. Ready, go!
Waterfall.
So here I just show one example is so in the offline classroom, every student have a small device, and the device will receive the audio from the student. And in the classes, they can use this kind of device to speak out English words, and the system will automatically give a score to each student. So by using this kind of smart device, the teacher can improve the offline classroom interaction qualities.
Hey, Zitao, actually, quick question, because that sounds really cool. Is it each kid got independent feedback, or did it like judge the whole room and kind of say that was mostly close to waterfall?
Yeah, so each student the device will record the voice from each student, and each student have a score for their pronunciations. And the system will pick the top three and put the top three's name and pictures on the screen. And at the back end, so every score is recorded, so we can check the class report later.
Impressive, thank you.
Yeah. So the next video is in Chinese, so I will give some background. So in the offline classroom, usually people just sit in the classroom. Usually the classroom will have 20 or 25 students, right? So usually during the class, we have some breaks, right? And also students may get bored. And here we create a kind of special interaction. So we called the body movement exercise. So we will randomly pick 2 students to to compete with each other. What they compete is they just do their body movement, and they're supposed to to move their body to kind of close to some forms of the functions, the forms of some mathematical functions. So I will show the examples.
Ready, go！ y 等于 a 的 x 次方 ，x 方加 y 方等于2方 ，y 等于 x，y 等于负 x，y 等于 log a x，y 等于 cosine x，y 等于负 x 的绝对值 ，y 等于 x 平方 ，y 等于 x 绝对值。y 等于 sin x，y 等于 x 的立方。加速啦 ！y 等于 a 的 x 次方 ，x 方加 y 方等于2方 ，y 等于 x，y 等于负 x，y 等于 log a x，y 等于 cosine x，y 等于负 x 的绝对值 ，y 等于 x 平方 ，y 等于 x 绝对值 ，y 等于 sin x，y 等于 x 的立方。时间到。
So basically, this example just shows kind of a special interactions during the class. So we can randomly pick 2 students to kind of to move their body to match the function, to match the forms of the function you will see on the screen. So that's why you see all the students just move their bodies, and we will use CV technologies to kind of match their pose to give a score and evaluate the two body movements. Okay, so also there are a lot of people they want to use kind of AI to help them to do exercise. So one application is the mental math grading. So the mental math is there are a bunch of very simple math questions, and we can use AI to take a we can use AI to build a camera to take a picture of those kind of homeworks, and we will get the result instantly. And also we can use AI to to build a kind of a search engine for the question bank, and we take a picture of the question. We will use that picture to search the entire question bank to find the correct solutions. So here is a demo. So we just crop the pictures. And once we crop the pictures, it search the question bank, and we find, oh, that's the question, and we will either show the solutions or give the student the choice to ask the question to the teachers. And also for the exercise, one type of the exercise is IC, IC rating. And also, we one of the most famous company is Grammarly, and they build a very cool auto IC grading tools. So here is an example. You can set goals for the kind of the IC practice, and after you enter all all the text, and it will show you what's wrong with your essay. And they have a very detailed dimensions to analyze your essay. Okay, and also for the exercise right now, recently, so a lot of companies, they are building the math tutor to help students, not only check or search the question itself, but also, show you the solutions and give you the video. You can watch the video to understand the question, to understand the knowledge point behind the questions. And there are a bunch of similar apps on the App Store. So for example, PhotoMath, Microsoft Math, Ada is by Pearson. So I will show some screenshot. For example, if you see the middle part of the screen, so the Microsoft Math will help you to do all the derivative stuff and show you step by step, and also give you the hints. And different from the PhotoMath, both Microsoft and Ada, they have the short video to explain the knowledge point behind this, all the math stuff. Okay, and also for the exercise part, once we do the exercise, we check the answer, we check the solutions, we need to do kind of like the diagnostics and also do the assessment. The school pad is created by the ACT, and they build a tool to do the dynamic assessment along your learning trajectory. So we'll see they will load all the student behavior data, and they will do the analysis automatically. Yeah. Okay. And then we move to the next stage, which is the exam. Exam is probably one of the most important part in education. When we do the exam, basically the exam is kind of a special way to evaluate how well we understand the content behind the questions, right? So once we use this stuff, once we do all this stuff, we can do the adaptive learning. One of the very famous company called the Squirrel AI, which is the kind of the leading adaptive learning companies. And here is what they do.
Through its artificial intelligence-based adaptive learning system, Yixue Education Inc. realized 5 times of learning efficiency for middle school students compared with the traditional approach. Students need to take an intelligent knowledge diagnosis assessment at the beginning of studying. This online adaptive test is to quickly and accurately detect students' knowledge weaknesses. In students' learning process, weaknesses are arranged in an optimal sequence, ensuring learning efficiency is maximized. The most suitable learning materials are delivered to students, including short videos, lecture notes, and questions. Each student has a personalized learning path and receives personalized learning contents. Yixue's intelligent adaptive learning system keeps collecting students' learning and behavior data and dynamically adjusts recommendations according to students' preference, learning style, knowledge state, and proficiencies in real time.
Okay, and also after this stage, so we go to the 5th stage, which is evaluate. How do we use AI to evaluate how do we use AI to evaluate both the class quality and the student itself? And here we build so at TEL, so we build kind of a special assessment tool we call the spoken language proficiency assessment tools. We call it Dolphin 2. to use state-of-the-art voice recognition and natural language processing techniques to evaluate the student spoken language in multimodal dimensions. So here is introductions.
In this video, we will introduce you to Dolphin, a spoken language proficiency assessment system for elementary education. The system utilizes advanced voice recognition, evaluates a speech from multiple dimensions, and provides assessment reports in real time. In this video, there is a 6-year-old boy, Jack, who does his oral assignments by talking about his favorite animals. There are tens of thousands of such assignments to be graded each day. If we grade such huge amounts with traditional manual efforts, there will be problems such as lack of evaluation dimensions, subjective scoring standards, and this whole process is going to be time-consuming. To solve these problems, we have developed Dolphin. The core of Dolphin is to evaluate spoken proficiency from multiple perspectives. Let's see how it happens for Jack's video. First of all, audio is extracted and transcribed into text by voice recognition models with high precision. Then voices, texts, and images are processed by multiple artificial intelligence algorithms to provide scores from 6 dimensions: verbal fluency, topic relevance, coherence, vocal emotion, pose interaction, and vocabulary diversity. Finally, an evaluation report will provide detailed description about Jack's performance. Let's see how Jack's report looks like. On the left side of the screen is a capacity radar chart, which displays the overall scoring. In middle and right sides are details about the dimensions covered in the radar chart. What's more, punchlines, a highlight in his speech, are also captured and shown on the lower right side. Next is an application example of our system. This time, Jack is recording himself speaking, while the system does real-time analysis and captures his highlights. As you can see, when Jack said a Chinese idiom, which means jumping around, the interactive interface gave feedback in time to encourage him. Up to now, Dolphin has been in practical use in various scenarios, including entrance examination, in-class interaction evaluation, oral assignment grading, speech contest grading, and etc. The system has played a crucial role in terms of boosting evaluation efficiency and also brought rich and intelligent interactions in education. The system has served more than 50,000 teachers and 3 million students and helped teachers save 500,000 hours that would have been spent on grading assignments. Now you can all experience Dolphin freely via browser at i.100tal.com Dolphin, or scan the QR code on the right-hand side with your phone. Let's go try it.
Yeah, so this is the example how do we use the AI tools to evaluate the spoken language. Next, I will so people use AI to evaluate the quality of the class. Right now, due to the COVID-19, almost all the class moved to online. How do we make sure the class have a desired quality? How do we make sure the teacher supposed to do what they do, and to make sure the overall class is in a high standard? That's an important question, and some of the work have already been done to build all the kind of the good behavior and the bad behavior detection to make sure the overall class qualities. And also and next, so we will move to the dropout predictions, which helps people to manage the overall educational system. So when the dropout prediction is kind of old topics. So people do the dropout prediction in public schools, which usually rely on GPA and all the stuff. And also people do job out research on MOOC. When MOOC becomes popular about 10 years ago, and a lot of people watch all the videos on MOOC platforms like Coursera and all the stuff. And people, a bunch of research trying to analyze kind of the user behavior on the MOOC platform and to build the machine learning models to kind of predict the dropout. And also for the K-12 educations, people trying to combine all the information on the platform to predict the dropout. I would mention that the K-12 student online class dropout prediction is quite different from public school dropout prediction and the MOOC dropout predictions. Usually for the online K-12 students, usually they don't have too many kind of the human behaviors left on the platform. For the MOOC dropout prediction, the most kind of the most important feature is what they left on the platform, right? So for example, do they post questions on the forum and all the stuff, how many clicks they make during the class. But for the K-12 online class, usually the K-12 students, they don't type, they don't click, they just watch. And that's kind of a huge difference compared to the existing research. And there are a lot of challenges in the K-12 dropout predictions. Okay, so the next is how do we use AI to kind of find the most suitable teachers for each student? That's a question. That is, if we think about the one-on-one class, this is more like a matching problem in the biparty graph. On one side is all the students, on the other side is all the teachers. How do we do the matchings? Okay, so in the second half of this part, so I will quickly go over all the challenges in the AI in K-12 educations. So briefly, there are kind of 4 challenges when applying AI in K-12 educations. The first part is small data. The second part is multi-modalities and heterogeneity. The third part is the data quality issue, and the first part is about the label consistency and the evaluations. I will introduce each of them later. Okay, so the first part is small data issues. Usually we talk about the big data, and actually in the education domain, we actually is in the big data scenario, but there are kind of tons of raw educational data every day. For example, if you think about all the homework written by students, all the classroom recordings, both online and offline, there are huge amount of educational data. However, when we trying to build AI applications, we need, when we will do the training and we need the labels. So, but in the huge amount of raw educational data, we don't have labels. There are very limited ground truths, and that's the small data issues. The second challenge is multimodalities. Also, as Rose mentioned earlier, so right now we have different types of classroom nowadays. We have offline classroom, online classroom. Even for the offline classroom, we have different types of offline classroom. The same for the online class. We have one-on-one online class, and we also have a very huge size online class. So they all become popular nowadays. And those kind of the different types of classroom, they gave us the multimodal classroom data. Usually they are made they are made up of these 3 types of data: the language data, and the visual data, and the vocal data. So here is a kind of example to show you what kind of types of data we can get from the classroom. So it's split into 2 dimensions. If you look at the x-axis, which is split which indicate when we generate the data can be generated before the class, in the class, and after the class. And the y-axis, it shows who generated the data. The data can be generated by either the instructor or student or by the administrators. We can pick some example. For example, if we look at the left top corner, we will see slides preparations. So the instructor have to prepare the slides before the class. This will show. So when the instructor prepares their slides, there are a lot of behaviors left on the platform, and we know what questions they pick, and what the knowledge point behind those slides, and this all become very important data afterwards. And also, let's see, for example, in class, for the administrators, so we will have the class evaluation and the monitoring, which make sure the class have at least the standard qualities. So all this analysis will generate a huge amount of data. And also after the class, then have to do the homework assignment, and all this will give you the data. The third challenge is the data quality issues. We have data from multiple sources, and they are in multiple modalities. And also, when we train the models, we don't have too many labels. And the third challenge is the data quality itself is kind of not that good. For example, for the online class, if you use kind of the Zoom type of stuff to do the online teachings, usually you have too many. You have at least 20 students. So each of the students, they are in kind of in the low resolutions, from the video quality perspective. This is due to the internet speed and other stuff. And also, probably you will collect the data from the offline classroom, and the offline classroom data usually is very noisy, and there are a lot of background noises in your data. And also, probably you collect the data from the handwriting. You collect the handwriting data from either students or the teachers. Their handwriting are probably very terrible, and it's hard to recognize. Okay, so when people kind of because all the changes I mentioned in education data, people usually use crowdsourcing to solve the problem. What the crowdsourcing does is once we show the workers what the data looks like, and we usually tell the worker to annotate all the labels, and we can get we can sort of kind of alleviate the small data issues. So here is a kind of a bunch of popular educational tasks using AI. For example, emotion analysis, the fluency detections, the oral evaluations, the chat detections, and essay gradings. All of these are kind of the popular educational AI tasks. The crowdsourcing is very nice things, but however, in the educational domain, we have the very high inconsistency issues. Usually, if you give a picture, ask the crowd worker to kind of to annotate whether it's a cat or whether it's a dog. So usually you will get a very high consistent result, right? So, but in the educational domain, if you have multiple workers, usually their consistency ratio is very low. This also bring a bunch of challenges when you train the machine learning models, and my colleagues will talk more details later. Okay, so this is the second part. So in the third part, so we will talk about the multimodal learning in education. And before we go into the kind of all the machine learning details, so let me pause here to see if we have some questions.
You did have one question just about actually pointing to some literature, and I'm actually trying to make the PowerPoints available. That was the only question so far. If someone wanted to ask another question right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have all the reference. We also have all the reference later in the later back slides. Yeah. At the end of the slide, we show all the reference. Yeah. I see.
Good.
Yeah, I see a question. I see the question about how is the effectiveness of the AI-based teaching techniques measured. I think right now we do the measurement in two types. The first type is we build some the golden test data set, and it's just help us to do the offline evaluations. And the another thing we tried is we build the online we do the online A/B test to see whether the teacher have a better, on the teacher side whether we have a better acceptance rate, and also on the student side whether the students are satisfied. We will do the survey and the A/B test to make sure the AI is kind of really effective.
I guess just following up on that general theme, because I guess actually you said how this person asked how is it measured, and you kind of responded more with like internally how do we actually maybe improve our product. I was expecting something like, hey, here's the study that actually shows in a randomized controlled trial this thing is better than that. Does like, I'm not aware of actually how here in the United States we have something called the What Works Clearinghouse, where you can actually get your study actually evaluated. Is there like a published report on the topic that you're referring to that we want to refer your question and answer to go read, or does that? Yeah. Is there? Well, here, I'll stop. What's worth saying on that topic?
Okay, cool. Okay, so now we will move to the third part, the multimodal learning educations, and I will pass it over to my colleague Guowei, which will talk about more machine learning details about the representation learning in education. Okay, I will stop my sharing.